Okay, I'm going to try to demonstrate how to use the IPython notebook with the DoD HPCMP machines. So I have my CAC card inserted in my CAC reader, and I'm going to start an IPython notebook. So first I'm going to open a terminal because I need to authenticate with the DoD. So now this shell has my Kerberos credentials in it. So I'm going to use this to start the notebook. So first I'm going to change to the directory where I have some notebooks that I want to run. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to start a cluster. I'm going to start this on Diamond, which is an SGI. I'm going to start 512 engines or cores. Okay, so that's probably going to take a while to start up. So let's look at what's happening. So in the terminal where I started the notebook, you can see that there's a lot of output, and what's happening is that the Python is SSHing to Diamond and getting the connection information and starting the controller and the engines on Diamond. And so so we can see what's actually happening on Diamond, I'm going to log in. This wouldn't be necessary, but it's useful just to see what's happening. Okay, so I'm going to look in the queue. So my job is running. So we see that that job where we asked for 512 cores is using up 64 nodes of Diamond, and that gives us access to 1280 gigabytes of memory. And I've asked for an hour, which is just set in my configuration file. I can look inside that process, look at the standard out, just to see what's happening. So nothing has happened yet. It's still getting spun up. Alright. So we'll wait just a second on that. Okay, so let's check back to see what's happening. I can see that my 512 engines have registered, completed registration. So I think things are ready now in the notebook. So now I'm going to open up this shallow water simulation, which I've modified just from the simple default MPI profile to use this Diamond profile that I've defined on this laptop, and I've given it a IP name for the server so that it knows how to log in, and I gave it an empty password because for some reason it's asking for a password even though it has the Kerberos credentials. So I gave it a blank password, and that way it doesn't wait for me to give it one. So, crossing my fingers, I'm just going to hit run all. So the client is attached to the cluster. Alright, there are my engines. Here's the calculation thread. Now here's the, that's defining the mont. So we're going to, Fernando has added the ability to monitor the calculation as it's progressing. And so once things get going, it should start to plot. Alright, so there it goes, starting to update a plot of the solution. This is the depth contours. And I think they might look a little bit rough because this domain has been decomposed into so many little blocks, so 512 blocks. There it goes. Alright, that's it. So I ran this earlier on 64 processors and generated the output. So I know it on 64 processors it took about 30 minutes, I think. But once it's done, you can actually rerun it, restart it in this notebook. So it's nice for doing grid refinement. You don't lose your place in the queue. Once you've got your job running, you can continue to use that. Okay, so the simulation finished, and now I'm going to try to rerun it with increase the number of time steps to 501, and increase the refinement to 32 times in both directions. Alright, we'll see how that works. Okay, well, level 32 refinement was a little bit too much. That would have been 1.5 million nodes, I think, which probably should have been okay, but I'm guessing I'm wasting memory somewhere, and it might also be a problem when we try to pull the whole array over for plotting. So I cut it down to 16 times refinement, and that's about 800 and something thousand elements, about 400 and something thousand nodes, so close to 500,000 nodes, and that's running fine. So that's a decent, it's small, but it's still a decent workload per processor, and it's running fine. So anyway, lastly, here's the results of the simulation of the previous run, just so you can see the whole thing in an animation. So a little bit oscillatory at first. I need to work on the numerics. The plot underneath it is the velocity magnitude, so you can see the shocks moving back and forth in the free surface and in the velocities. So, and I think that's close to physically correct, but not, still needs some improvement in the numerics. Anyway, that's it.